The hardest thing is not surviving suffering. The hardest thing is remaining humble after blessings arrived. Maureen here, episode 7 of our story, The Orphan. Let's dive in. 3 days passed after the terrifying incident at Uncle Ezani's compound. But the village of Umuaka still had not recovered from the shock. Everywhere people gathered, only one topic filled their conversations: the forbidden stream, the mysterious old woman, and Chinedum. Women discussed it at the market. Men argued about it under the Umuaka tree. Even children stopped playing ordinary games and began pretending to search for treasure in the forest. Fear and wonder had completely swallowed the village. Nobody spoke carelessly about the forbidden stream anymore. Nobody laughed at Chinedum anymore. And most importantly, nobody dared insult him again. Early one morning, Chinedum sat quietly outside Papa Nana's hut watching the sunrise. The air felt peaceful. Birds moved gently across the sky. For the first time in many years, his heart felt calm. But even with all the new respect surrounding him, something still troubled him deeply. Loneliness. He missed the old woman, her voice, her kindness, the warmth inside her small forest hut. Sometimes he wondered whether he would ever see her again. Papa Nana stepped outside slowly, carrying a walking stick. "You woke up early?" Chinedum nodded respectfully. "Yes, Papa." The old woman sat beside him carefully. For several moments, they watched the sunrise together, silently. Then, Papa Nana finally spoke. "The entire village is talking about you." Chinedum lowered his eyes. "I do not want trouble." The old man smiled softly. A humble heart speaks quietly, even after receiving great blessings. Chinedum remained silent. Papa Nana looked at him carefully. "You are thinking about the woman again?" The boy looked surprised. "How did you know?" The old man chuckled softly. "Your eyes become distant whenever you remember her." Chinedum sighed deeply. "Who is she, Papa?" The old man became quiet. Then slowly he answered. "Long ago, elders spoke about a mysterious woman living near the forbidden stream. You knew about her?" Papa Nana nodded slowly, but nobody truly understood who she was. The old man's eye narrowed thoughtfully. Some believed she protected hidden blessings. Others believed she tested the hearts of people. Chinedum listened carefully. Papa Nana continued softly, but one thing remained common in every story. "What?" The old man looked directly into his eyes. "She always appeared when somebody's destiny was about to change." Cold chills moved across Chinedum's body. Meanwhile, workers from nearby villages arrived to inspect Chinedum's treasures: gold, silver, diamonds, precious stones. The news had spread beyond Umuaka already. Rich traders traveled from distant places hoping to buy some of the treasures. For the first time in his life, people spoke to Chinedum with respect. But despite everything, he remained careful. The old woman's warning never left his heart. Do not become proud. So while others expected him to begin behaving arrogantly, Chinedum surprised everyone. He greeted elders respectfully, shared food with hungry children, helped widows repair broken hearts, bought medicines for sick villagers. And every evening, he still fetched his own water quietly, like an ordinary person. The villagers became even more amazed. One afternoon, two elderly women sat under a tree discussing him. That boy's heart remained clean despite everything. The second woman nodded slowly. Suffering taught him compassion. Nearby, some younger men shook their heads in disbelief. If it were another person, pride would have entered already. But Chinedum remained different because pain had shaped him into someone gentle, not bitter. Several weeks later, construction began on Chinedum's new house, and not just an ordinary house, a mansion. The largest compound Umuaka ever seen. Workers carried wood across the village daily. Clay bricks arrived in large numbers. Strong men climbed ladders, building beautiful tall walls. Children gathered nearby every afternoon just to watch. Women whispered excitedly. Even neighboring villages came to see the miracle. The orphan boy is building a palace. Yet, strangely, the bigger Chinedum's blessings became, the quieter he became inside. One evening, after watching the workers leave, he sat alone beneath a tree. The sunset painted the sky orange beautifully, but his face carried sadness. Papa Nana noticed immediately. "My son," Chinedum looked up slowly. "Yes, Papa." "You should be happy." The boy forced a weak smile. "I am grateful." But Chinedum hesitated. Then softly he whispered, "I wish my parents could see this." Silence filled the air immediately. Pain entered Papa Nana's old eyes because nobody in the village remembered Chinedum's father. A kind man, an honest man, a hardworking man, and now his son had endured years of suffering before finally receiving joy. Papa Nana placed his hand gently on Chinedum's shoulder. "They are proud of you." Tears slowly gathered in the boy's eyes. "All those years, I thought nobody remembered them anymore." The old man shook his head firmly. Good people leave footprints in the hearts of others. That same night, something strange happened. Chinedum woke suddenly from sleep. Sweat covered his body. His breathing became heavy. He looked around the room carefully. Everything was quiet. But then, he heard it. A soft whisper outside. "Chinedum." The boy froze instantly. Again, the voice came. "Chinedum." It sounded familiar, very familiar. Slowly, he stood up and stepped outside. The night was cold and silent. Moonlight covered the village peacefully. Then, suddenly, he saw her. Far away, near the edge of the village road, the old woman, standing silently beneath the moonlight. Chinedum's eyes widened with shock. "Mama!" Immediately he ran towards her. But strangely, no matter how fast he moved, she still seemed far away. Finally he stopped, breathing heavily. The old woman smiled gently. "You are doing well." Tears gathered instantly in Chinedum's eyes. "You left without saying goodbye." The woman's face became emotional. "Some journeys are not meant to last forever." Chinedum shook his head quickly. "No, please do not leave again." The old woman looked at him carefully. "You are stronger now." The boy swallowed painfully. "I still need you." Those words deeply touched the woman. For several moments, she simply stared at him silently. Then, softly, she said, "My child, life will soon place another test before you." Fear entered Chinedum's heart immediately. What kind of test? The old woman looked towards the dark forest. When suffering leaves a person, she turned back slowly. Another danger often comes. What danger? The woman's eye narrowed slightly. Pride. Cold silence filled the night air. Chinedum lowered his eyes immediately. I do not want pride. The woman smiled gently. That is why you are still protected. Suddenly, the night wind moved heavily around them. The trees rustled loudly. And for one brief moment, the old woman no longer looked ordinary. Her eyes seemed brighter, older, powerful, ancient. Fear and wonder entered Chinedum's chest. Mama, who are you really? The woman became silent. Then softly she answered, some questions reveal themselves only when the time is right. Before Chinedum could speak again, a strong wind suddenly swept across the road. Dust filled the air. The boy covered his eyes quickly, and when the wind stopped, the old man was gone again. Completely gone. Only silence remained. The next morning, Chinedum told Papa Nana everything. The old man listened carefully without interrupting. Then Chinedum finished speaking. Papa Nana sighed deeply. The mystery surrounding that woman grows greater each day. Chinedum looked worried. She warned me about another test. The old man nodded slowly. Then you must listen carefully. But what test could be worse than suffering? Papa Nana looked directly into his eyes. The test of wealth. Chinedum became quiet. The old man continued softly. Poverty revealed pains, but wealth revealed character. Those words remained inside Chinedum's mind the entire day. Weeks continued passing. Soon, Chinedum's mansion stood proudly at the center of the village. Beautiful pillars decorated the entrance. Large shining windows reflected sunlight beautifully. The compound itself looked like something from another world. Villagers gathered daily just to admire it. But what surprised everybody was not this. Chinedum did not move into the mansion alone. Instead, he invited struggling widows to there freely, allowed hungry children to eat daily in his compound, and helped many poor villagers start small businesses. The village slowly began changing because of him. People who once suffered quietly now smiled again. One evening, villagers gathered before Banana happily. That boy brought light back into Umuaka. Another man nodded proudly. His father would have smiled seeing this. But unknown to everyone, not all hearts felt happy about Chinedum's rising greatness. Because far away in another village, a dangerous man had heard the story of the orphan boy and his treasures. A man known for greed, a man feared by many, a man whose heart desired wealth at all costs. And the moment he heard about the forbidden stream, his eyes darkened with dangerous interest. That same night, while Chinedum slept peacefully inside his new mansion, a strange dream came upon him. He stood once again before the forbidden stream. The water glowed brightly beneath the moonlight. Then suddenly, the old woman appeared beside the water. But this time, her face looked troubled. Chinedum, she called softly. The boy stepped closer nervously. Mama. The woman pointed towards the forest darkness behind him. Immediately, strange shadows began moving between the trees. Dangerous shadows. watching, waiting. Fear entered Chinedum's chest. What is that? The old woman's voice became unusually serious. Greed is coming again. Thunder suddenly exploded across the dream. The stream began glowing violently. The shadows moved closer rapidly. Then the old woman shouted loudly, "Protect your heart." Chinedum woke up immediately. Sweat covered his entire body. Thunder rolled outside his mansion. Heavy rain poured across the village. And somewhere deep inside the dark forest, something unseen had already begun moving towards Umuaka. The end of episode 7. But wait, who was the dangerous man searching for forbidden stream? Why did the old woman want Chinedum to protect his heart? And what new danger was approaching the village after peace had finally returned? All these questions will be answered in the next episode. So do well to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so that you don't miss out in the next episode.